I'll let you know when.
Charlie's got 3:59, so we're gonna go at 4.
Unless Diana says we can't.
You can go, Judy.
All right, I heard the bell. We'll call the meeting to order for the Board of Adjustment. And we need to approve the agenda and minutes from March 13th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion, changes, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. New business, Jeffrey and Betsy Wolding, variance request, 2024-6V. Wolding, Neva.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a variance request for relief from the Cook County Zoning Ordinance to place a principal structure at a reduced ordinary high water level or shoreline setback of 75 feet from Poplar Lake, which is classified as a recreational development lake, where a minimum of 100 feet is required on a substandard lot of record located at 60 Fireplace Road. The property is approximately 0.94 acres with approximately 292 feet of Poplar Lake shoreline. Parcel is contained entirely within the Lakeshore Residential Zone District. Newly created lots within the zone district must be 1 acre in size with 150 feet wide at the structure setback. The applicants are proposing to place a house with an attached garage on their lot at Poplar Lake. The variance requests to place the structure 75 feet from the ordinary high water level. The development plans indicate that a septic system will also be installed on the property. I've included the ordinance citations for the requirements for relief. There's specifically the recreational development lake development standards, and then also the substandard lot requirement because the parcel can't meet conforming setbacks for development. For background, this lot is within the Sunrise Point unofficial plat, which was a platting process that was not completed sometime in the 1960s. Several of the lots surrounding the subject parcel have received variances. A brief summary of the nearby lot variances are included on the next page of the staff narrative. The property currently is used for recreational use but has no structures on it. The property is in a residential area at the end of a dead-end private road, Fireplace Road. Given this lot was created before zoning regulations, it is a legal lot of record. This lot is wide and shallow with 292 feet of shoreline and approximately 160 feet depth between the road center line and the shoreline. Given the 50-foot road centerline setback and the 100-foot shoreline setback, there is minimal, if any, conforming location to build on this lot. I've included an aerial photo from 2022 on page 4 of the staff narrative, which shows Fireplace Road on the north side of the property, and the south and east side of the property is Lakeshore. At the top of page 5 of the staff narrative is a table which includes a brief narrative or summary of some of the surrounding variance reliefs. There's been a lot of variances granted between 2002 as recent as 2022 to neighboring properties. I think all of these variances were meeting the shore impact area setback of 50 feet, as well as this request is also meeting that shore impact area setback. The photo on page 5, the bottom of page 5, is showing the areas that were used for the shoreline setback analysis. So that analysis requires us to take an area that is twice the standard lot width, so that would be 300 feet on either side of the property. Those are the subject properties, so it ends up being 3 properties adjoining, as well as the approximate setback by the aerial photo of the structures on each of those properties. And this kind of shows, again, the characteristic of this point is a lot of water frontage, but really shallow lots. So the lots don't have a lot of depth inland for conforming development once the road is taken into consideration. For site conditions and considerations, the site plan for septic indicates a septic tank and mound will be installed to serve the property. Impervious surface coverage is not a consideration requiring a variance. Wetlands are not a consideration for the variance requirement. For slope, there is a steep slope along the shoreline. However, it does not meet the bluff definition due to the height criteria, so there is no bluff or bluff setback requirement. For noise, no significant noise should be generated from this request. No significant lighting should be generated from this request. There is safe access off of Fireplace Road. This property is near the end of the road, and parking is indicated on the site sketch leading into the garage. Again, that shoreline setback averaging that I mentioned earlier on that previous page The shoreline setback averaging calculation supports a variance of at least 97 feet from the shoreline. This calculation should note that it only took into consideration 3 adjoining properties due to the wider lot configuration in this area, and one of the subject lots was on a point with a larger amount of water frontage. This calculation simply gives a benchmark relative to adjoining properties, does not take into account the unique lot characteristics or the potential practical difficulties associated with each individual parcel. For public noticing, the application was legally noticed in the Cook County News Herald on March 22nd. 20 letters of notification were sent to adjacent property owners as well as county departments and the DNR hydrologist. There were no written comments received during the written comment period. 2 technical memos have been provided. One was from Cook County Environmental Health Specialist Mitch Everson, who provided a technical memo indicating that the requirements for permitting exist if the variance is approved for the septic. And then the Cook County Soil and Water Conservation District technician Max Tossenson provided a technical memo explaining that there is a well-established water quality trend of declining water quality in Poplar Lake due to an increase in the amount of nutrients being supplied to the lake. This information indicates that land use practices should include best management practices, including as follows: ensure stormwater from the building is directed away from the lake to minimize sediment and nutrient flow into the lake. This would be in the form of stormwater capture of rain gardens or gutters. The second one is to remove as little of the trees and vegetation as possible to minimize overland flow to prevent erosion and sediment loading into the lake. And the third one is to maintain a wide and robust vegetated shoreline buffer with a small access trail down to the water. Staff consideration for facts and findings. And again, these are the facts and findings for reviewing and granting a variance based off of the proposal. Number 1, the variance is consistent with the goals and policies of the comprehensive land use guide plan and in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the Cook County Zoning Ordinance and other Cook County official controls. One finding is that the Cook County Zoning Ordinance requires a setback of 100 feet from the rec development lake. The applicant is proposing a 75-foot setback from Poplar Lake. And the second finding could be that Cook County Land Use Guide Plan administrative and intergovernmental goal to integrate land use concerns into all appropriate ongoing administrative actions. Policy number 77 indicates land use related decisions shall recognize the need to duly consider the rights and responsibilities of the general public good with the corresponding rights and responsibilities of the individual. The second consideration for facts and findings: the proposed use of the property is allowed in the land use district in which the property is located. The parcel is zoned lakeshore residential. Residential uses are permitted in the zone district. The third fact and finding: the property owner is proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the Cook County Zoning Ordinance. Potential finding could be the property owner does propose to use the property in a reasonable manner, residential use. The landowner has proposed a building site that is outside of the shore impact zone. The fourth criteria: the property owner has established that the practical difficulty involved is due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. One potential finding: the lot is wide and shallow. Given the 50-foot road centerline setback and the 100-foot shoreline setback, there is minimal, if any, conforming location to build a residential dwelling on this lot. The second potential finding: the lot is a legal lot of record and was established prior to zoning regulations. Approving the variance maintain the essential character of the locality. One potential finding: the area is zoned lakeshore residential consisting of conforming and non-conforming lots. Number 2, the subject parcel is located at the end of a dead-end road. And number 3, most adjacent properties have received variance relief from the shoreline setback. And the last consideration: the property owner has established that the practical difficulty involves more than economic considerations alone, and proposed finding: economic considerations are not the reason for the variance request. Staff recommendations for consideration: this substandard lot of record is configured in a way that does not allow for conforming development to meet both the road and lake setbacks. The applicants appear to have proposed a site plan that places development outside of the shore impact zone and in line with other neighboring non-conforming structures. If approved, the following conditions may be attached to this variance request. Number 1, the property shall conform to Minnesota Rule 7080 and Cook County septic requirements. Number 2, no component of proposed construction may be closer than 75 feet from the ordinary high water level of Poplar Lake. Number 3, the gutter catchment system or vegetation conducive to water retention shall be included on all new or proposed structures to divert precipitation and snow melt away from Poplar Lake. And number 4, the shore impact zone shall remain naturally vegetated to provide visual screening and filtering of water runoff. One addition I wanted to make to my narrative is that I did forget to include the applicant's submitted photos with their application, so I did provide a hard copy of those photos in front of you there, so that's a part of their application. And these are representing the view of their property from the lake, showing a thick vegetative buffer.
Thank you. Is there someone representing the Wolding family? Maybe you would go over to the microphone, one of you. State your name and address.
Jeff Wolding, and we're from Neenah, Wisconsin.
Okay. And do you have anything you wish to add to the narrative?
No, nothing to add.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? You got to come up to the microphone, state your name and address.
I'm Donnie Kopp, 71 Fireplace Road, right across from Betsy and Jeff, and I think it's a good idea that they're building.
Okay.
They're doing a nice job. Look at the plans. They put a lot of time and money into this, and I need new neighbors. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wish to speak? We'll close the public hearing. Okay. We'll go to the board's comments. We'll start with you.
Pretty cut and dry to me.
Okay.
Uh,
You have any questions? for
Pinch
the
between
lawyer?
two setbacks and very consistent with the neighborhood, so.
Is this a variance from the road setback as well?
Nope, they'll be meeting the road setback, so it's just a relief
So
from
it's the lake. Okay.
I would concur with the staff's conclusions on our findings of facts. I think this seems pretty cut and dry.
Okay. And Brad?
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I agree that findings of fact make it pretty clear what we're doing and how the different components are being balanced. This is how we've treated other properties that are shallow, is similarly pinched between setbacks, so I think it's a pretty straightforward solution.
Okay. Okay, anyone else have any comments? We'll go to the findings of fact. We'll go through the list. Is the variance consistent with the goals and policies of the land use guide?
Yes.
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 Is the proposed use of the property allowed in the district where the property is located?
Yes.
Lake Shore Residential.
Is the property owner proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in a reasonable manner. yeah.
Okay. Number 4, has the property owner established that the practical difficulty involved is due to circumstances unique to the property?
Yes.
Yes.
And will approving the variance maintain the essential characteristic of the locality?
Yes.
Yes.
And has the property owner established the practical difficulty involved involves more than economic considerations?
Yes.
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 Okay,
I think they're well documented in the staff findings of fact as well.
right. Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any
Yeah.
further?
Is that with the conditions?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
With the recommended conditions?
yeah, the recommended condition, yeah.
Okay, is there a second? I think-
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.
I think we got a new.
I think that's the new record.
Next one, it won't be so quick, so get used to it.
Well, when it's